This is Britain. Not an idea. Not a slogan, a home. Built by those who came before us, held in trust for those who come after. We stand not in anger, but in duty to protect what was given, to defend what still matters, and to stand together for the land we love. This is our home. And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? And was the Holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here among these dark satanic mills? Bring me my bowl of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear of clouds unfold. Bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease for so fight.
Hey John, hey Charles.
My sword sleep in my hand till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. Let's take our country back.
I thought that was a pretty good intro. I'll probably play that at the end when more people are in here to see it. All right, the main thing, I'm going to play the main thing first, but then I got a bunch of short clips too.
How do we go by our rights and bring our children up if the corrupt system all the way through, police, judicial services, everything, it's all involved, Parliament, MPs, everything, they're all corrupt. We get Prime Minister.
Yeah, John, I started here a bit earlier because adding up the times, it looks like I got a little bit over 2 hours thing, and normally I leave myself 2 hours.
So how can we tell our children to bring them up straight and narrow when everybody above them was corrupt?
Peter Lynch, 61, a proud grandfather and father of 4, was sentenced to 2 years, 8 months in prison. His so-called crime? Raising his voice and holding a banner in defence of what he believed. Branded a far-right thug by the media and Keir Starmer, Pete was thrown into a brutal prison system among violent criminals. But the real justice, he paid the ultimate price. Alone, isolated from family he cherished. Peter took his own life in a cold, unforgiving cell. His voice may have been silenced, but his sacrifice will echo through history. May he rest in peace. It's September 2024. There's been trouble on our streets. The government...
I hope they don't get me for copyrights on this. I'm just trying to help them out by playing it.
And legacy media tell us one thing, Social media and citizen journalists tell us something else. What we do know is the British people are angry. What's ignited this anger? What is going on? And are we seeing lawfare waged on the British people with a whole new level of intensity?
It does, Charles. Okay, cool.
I'd have liked to have been at Runnymede, England to make this film. Why Runnymede? Because it's where King John was made to sign the Magna Carta over 800 years ago. The Magna Carta is a document designed to shackle the power of tyrants. A document that makes it clear that everyone, including the king, who was the authority in the land at the time, is subject to the law. And the law is to be applied without fear or favour. A document that is
Not if you control all the judges.
Inspired freedom-loving people around the world. A document to protect free-born English men and women from the abuse at the hands of tyrants. How fast and how far our nation has fallen. Now, we looked at the architecture of a totalitarian state in lawfare, the film we launched on 1st of June this year. Two-tier policing, a politicised judiciary, a controlled media, and dissenting voices being crushed. These are just some of the pieces that the Conservatives put in place, working hard to build their utopian totalitarian state. New legislation, arrest for hurtful words, thought crime debanked, fired. This has all been the case for a few years now. And digital programmable money, mass surveillance, social credit scores, 15-minute cities, pay per mile to drive. Yes, the ULEZ infrastructure is already in place for that. Centrally controlled food supply. All these things will follow soon. More tax, less freedom, and prison for anyone who objects. But right now, we have a new Labour government, and we could not have imagined how quickly and vigorously these new totalitarians, this morally bankrupt, communist, bewildered, one-term Labour government,
globalist, socialist,
would have set about implementing their evil plans. We explained previously how totalitarians use all the institutions of the state to create the facade of fairness, due process, and a democracy. It's all a facade. Well, in fact, they seek to destroy the very fabric of our society with their so-called progressive ideologies. Progressive ideologies that care not a bit for the oppressed, but use social justice as a veil for their hatred of the status quo.
Anti-Christian, anti-white.
These totalitarians create division and chaos as the pretext to usher in their totalitarian utopia. Division and chaos, they both serve their purpose. And they create phantoms, imaginary foes. They turn the gullible against these imaginary demons. Why do they do this? Well, they have no power if they are scrutinised and exposed for what they are. They have no power if the people unite against them. And they are driven by three emotions. Three emotions lie at the heart of every totalitarian regime. And Keir Starmer's regime is no different. They're driven by lust, fear, and loathing. They're driven by lust, a lust for power. They will say and do anything to get it. They will say and do anything to keep it. This includes lying to us all. We won't take away the winter fuel allowance. We won't raise taxes. They get elected, they take away the winter fuel allowance from thousands and thousands of pensioners on as little as £13,000 a year.
But how can you justify it to viewers who feel like it is an attack on some people who've worked hard all their lives They're not wealthy.
Hey, Kurt.
They don't have money to spare. And this year, if it's cold, they're going to be looking at the thermostat and wondering if they can pay their bills.
According to Labour's Lucy Powell, they had to do this to stop the economy crashing.
That is a barefaced lie. Just 1.5 billion was saved, while 21 billion pounds was voluntarily spent on public sector pay rises and foreign climate aid. When Ed Miliband excitedly promises to decarbonise the grid by 2030, again, he is being completely dishonest. As the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Darren Jones, innocently leaked some time ago, the true cost is going to be hundreds of...
You're more likely that you should expect it, that they're lying, than they're telling the truth.
...billions of pounds, with an almost impossible transformation of infrastructure.
There's a report, of course, commissioned by Labour Party back in 2017, which forecast that thousands of pensioners could die, could literally freeze to death because of this change.
If we have the money, billions every year, to look after people who have given nothing to this country, why do we not have 1.2 billion to give money to people who have contributed to this system and who are now vulnerable and at the end of their lives, they're going into the last chapter of their lives?
They removed the energy price cap and prices jump by 10% for everyone. And if you've worked hard all your life, look out, because they're coming for your savings and your pensions. And don't forget, while he's robbing you, Free Gear Kia, he's had to declare...
They could lower the cost of all that if they'd stop regulating everything to death and taxing everything to death.
...declare more than £100,000 of freebies and gifts, more than any other MP in our country. And they say they've just found a £22 billion black hole in the nation's finances.
We have found a £22 billion black hole in the economy.
What the hell? That means they stole $22 billion.
And we've got to fix it. And that's what this is all about, making sure that we fix the foundations. And then having done that we can build a better future that pensioners and so many other people voted for.
Actually, when you raise taxes, often you take in less money, not more.
In this election.
But they knew about the state of finances long before the elections. They just forgot to mention their plans. And when asked to spell out the details of the claimed black hole, they refuse. They're not telling. They won't. The dog ain't my homework. Ridiculous. They're not hiding the political choices they've made. They're actually proud of them. They can't use your taxes. Remember, our taxes, that's whose tax it is yours. They can't use them to help freezing pensioners this winter, but they can choose to send $3 billion a year of your tax to Ukraine to drag us towards war with Russia, instead of pursuing peace. They choose to send $6.4 billion a year of your taxes to support asylum and illegal migration. That's according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies. That's up 50% from last year and 6 times higher than in 2018. What's it going to look like next year or the year after? That's right, $6.4 billion in support of unilateral cultural suicide.
Angela Rayner has announced that she's abandoning plans to give British people, in brackets, who have paid their stamp or taxes, close brackets, priority council housing. We're going to allow migrants to get that. And if you thought that wasn't bad enough, I'd love your response to this, because this sent...
Of course, illegals are going to get everything free. Quit using that word migrants. It's illegal.
...me today, quite literally over the edge. If you're a terrorist and you wanted to get social housing, you were going to be banned under Labour's manifesto. That's been reversed as well today. So what we're saying, Ben, is we're going to allow millions of people to come into this country and take away homes or whatever from British people who need them. And that is not racist to make that comment. That is an absolute proven fact.
It is a proven fact. And that, amongst other reasons, is why people from all those deprived communities across the United Kingdom have been protesting against immigration for the last few weeks.
They choose to give away...
The elections were now, I think they'd finished last place among all the parties in England.
$8 billion of your taxes on climate aid. That's giving money to other countries to help them for their so-called climate challenges. $8 billion of your money, but can't keep the pensioners warm. They choose to spend trillions, yes, trillions of your taxes to pursue their own net zero wet dream, exporting our carbon emissions to China and India as we commit unilateral industrial disarmament and drive millions...
It's all money laundering, that's what it is. Getting them, filling their pockets with money.
...millions into fuel poverty. Don't take my word for it. This is a co-founder of Greenpeace on climate change.
I say not only is carbon dioxide good, it is essential. And it's a good thing that we are putting some more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere because it was running low before we came along. If we had definitive proof that CO2 was causing serious problems and we could prove it, don't you think they would write that down on a piece of paper somewhere so people could read it? They don't have definitive proof, period. I am firmly of the belief that the future will show that this whole hysteria over climate change was a complete fabrication.
And lastly, they'll smash those gangs that are transporting illegal migrants into the UK, costing us 6.4 billion a year.
Round up, detain and deport illegal immigrants. That's what new Home Secretary Yvette Cooper has just promised to
Hey, please do that.
do. Well, do you believe the woman who held up a sign saying refugees welcome, closed the Bibi Stockholm and scrapped Rwanda on day one?
Do you believe them? They're all
send them all back.
So driven by fear. They fear their loyalty to the World Economic Forum and its globalist and totalitarian agenda being exposed and revealed.
You have to choose now between Davos or Westminster.
Davos.
Why?
Because Westminster is too constrained.
They fear their incompetence and failures being exposed. Immigration policy, energy policy, foreign policy, every policy is a failure. They fear losing power. And they fear Islam. They're bewildered. They cower and submit to the demands of Islam out of fear of what might happen if they don't.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Phil Hutchinson and I am the Superintendent for Greater Manchester Police based in Oldham.
Salam alaikum. I'm speaking to you today because I want to reinforce my commitment to protect every member of our Merseyside community.
Yeah.
I love it.
Would she dare do anything for the Christians?
Of course, cowering in the face of Sharia.
They don't even know what they're swearing to.
Sharia-loving fanatics does not placate them. It emboldens them, you morons. Our government's appeasement is like feeding the crocodile and hoping it will eat them last. I think Churchill said that. And hiding things, covering things up. That doesn't solve our nation's problems. It's obvious to most of us by now, covering things up lets the problems grow and grow and grow. They've done that for the last 40 years with Pakistani rape gangs for the sake of community cohesion. And they're doing it now with mass migration and the Islamisation of the United Kingdom. But lying to cover things up doesn't create community cohesion. It does the absolute opposite. It stokes anger in British people.
There was no growth in our economy in July, and yet we continually get pumped with mass migration. I'm just going to pose this question. If migration makes us richer, why are we getting poorer? Our politicians can't just lie to us and hope we don't kick off. If the truth is so bad that we might protest if we knew about it, then maybe they should do something about the problem instead of covering it up.
And the population know they're being ignored. And worse than being ignored, they're being condemned. This time by a Prime Minister. How on earth did he end up with this job? Anyone who thinks mass immigration might not be such a great idea. Well, Tutik here, he's branded you, all of you, as far-right thugs and Nazis, prejudged you as criminals, and his stormtroopers will come and arrest you shortly. The third emotion driving our so-called leaders is loathing. They don't believe in the nation state. They believe in open borders and cheap labour for global corporations. Their loyalties lie with the World Economic Forum. Tutik here has made that pretty clear already. They loathe our nation and its people. The obstacles to their globalist totalitarian utopia. They don't want to be challenged. They are terrified of scrutiny. They don't want their lies exposed, and they certainly don't want to listen to you, the British people.
David.
Everybody's lives matter. Black lives matter. Trans lives matter. Refugees' lives matter, except old people's lives don't seem to matter. Why on earth are they choosing this as their first hill to die on?
Will our so-called leaders ever recognise the legitimate concerns and grievances of the British people? Do our so-called leaders actually want to solve the problems, or do they want to use the problems? Problems they created, by the way, to take more power.
Kind of what's going on there is where we're heading if we don't stop it now.
And take away more of your freedoms. You see, these Marxists weren't elected because British people wanted to be governed by Marxists.
David, I commented on your comment. That's what I was saying. I was saying that the Kurdish people are telling me that the next step very soon is for the people are going to rise up and get rid of this regime.
They were only elected because of the Tories spent 14 years failing everyone.
Sadly
they failed the British people. Failing.
Well, I'm seeing that the people are rising up. They might be able to get it. They're starting to change the free speech laws too a little bit. I got a little clip on that. And a little bit later. In about an hour, I'll be playing that one.
To be remotely conservative, failing to lower taxes, failing to control our borders, failing to protect our freedoms, and now in power?
They're starting to say, oh, my bad for arresting people for what they posted online. Somewhat.
These Marxists want a state of perpetual chaos and division that they create. Divide and rule. There must be an enemy. There must be a reason to take action against these enemies of the state, and that action will always take away your freedom.
There's been a knife attack on a property in Hart Street. There are reports of it involving children, and I can now confirm that some of the patients have been taken to Alder Hey Children's Hospital, so that would suggest that those reports have indeed been accurate.
Here in the UK, 2 children have been killed in what police called a ferocious stabbing at a dance class in Southport in the northwest of England.
How many more children have died on our streets, Prime Minister? Time to change, Donna. Come on, it's needed. How many more children? Is it my next?
Why? He hasn't got enough open borders yet.
Make a real change, Prime Minister. Make a real change! Our children! Go away!
Take no prisoners, yeah.
No, my friends, 9-year-old daughter that was killed. The person I held as a child, and he fought.
I have friends I talk to in Iran and in Kurdistan areas, and they're saying they're set to go, actually, kind of secretly. They've been publicly saying certain things, but they're ready to go. They just got to be given the word to go.
So what actually happened in Southport? A man of Rwandan descent murdered 3 beautiful girls and stabbed 8 more children and 2 more adults. How did the government react? What did the machinery of the totalitarians
Well, they couldn't call it racist, so they probably did hardly anything about it.
state do? Well, you and I would hope something like this would get the government to stop and reflect for a minute. Why have these girls been murdered? Why is there so much knife crime? Why is there so much rape? Why are these so-called asylum seekers flocking to our shores?
Partially because they took their guns away.
And what values and cultures are they bringing with them? Are their values compatible with ours? Are all cultures of equal merit? You and I would hope the government would ask why the peasants, that's us.
As of today, they're starting to arrest people up in Canada who are not turning in their guns. As of today, it's the first day of them starting to arrest people.
You and me. Why are the peasants revolting? No, don't be ridiculous. Reflecting is not a popular pastime with communists and tyrants. Admitting they're wrong is not a key competence of these tyrants. Apologising for destroying our nation, it's not going to happen. What this government actually did, well, firstly, they did everything they possibly could to cover up the basic facts, what you and I would call the truth. They said immediately it wasn't terrorism. How could they possibly know immediately the motive, that it wasn't terrorism? How could they know that? And how could stabbing young girls at a Taylor Swift dance studio not be terrorism?
Especially when it looks like terrorism.
They said he was from Cardiff. Axel Ruddock Yabana. Yes, he's as Welsh as the daffodils. They looked for evidence he was mentally ill. I can help with that one. Yeah, he was mentally ill. Anyone who commits a crime like that is mentally ill. But exactly what kind of mental illness? And they published a picture of him looking like an innocent little 12-year-old and reported he was a choir boy. They made him the victim. They did all this because they don't want us knowing the truth.
Well, as soon as that Carney got in, they pushed this thing through C-whatever, I forgot the number on it, where they're going to confiscate guns. They tried to do a buyback. Less than 2% handed their guns in and wouldn't report their guns. And so now they're starting to confiscate them.
They manage the information.
Misinformation is dangerous. Social media is good, but it's also bad when people are using it in a way that could cause a riot, threats, intimidation. I think the government have really got to think long and hard about what they're going to do with social media and what are they going to put through Parliament as a bill to act.
Hey, Dan.
Misinformation is dangerous, and no misinformation
You're right,
or threats or intimidation should be allowed to be carried out on social media platforms.
That's their words. How absurd, how foolish, and how dangerous. And Kia, how is this working for you, managing the information? Do the government really believe their actions will help build a peaceful, prosperous and patriotic society? What about a cohesive society? Or are they so short-sighted, so hungry for power, and so disdainful of the British people that they will use anything, no matter how awful, how tragic, they will use anything as an opportunity to implement their totalitarian agenda and crush anyone who speaks out against them?
They thought they'd get all these people to hand in their guns with the buyback program. Maybe the people want to keep their guns. And they said there would be a penalty if they didn't hand them in. And they aren't. 98% of them aren't even doing it.
As we've said, these Marxists want a state of perpetual chaos. There must be an enemy to mobilise the population against, an enemy to divert attention away from the government's agendas and their
This going and arresting all these people is not going to go well.
failures.
You said the riots showed there was a societal black hole. What did you mean by that?
What I meant by that was that the riots, I think, were symbolic of a broken society. They were far right in the main, but underneath that, I think
Oh, here we go with the far right bull crap.
it's a societal black hole, a breaking of our society, which we need to mend. I'm convinced that the answer to it is delivery in government. So the best argument against the far right, the best argument against the easy answer, is to deliver, to bring about the change that we
What about the far left?
promised we'd bring about.
That's right. Two-Tier Kia seems to acknowledge there are troubles. He says the solution is delivering in government, which suggests the cause of the problem is failure in government.
Find more ways to do more money laundering and steal more of your money?
I agree, Comrade Kia. And he says the far right, whoever they are, is the snake oil of easy answers. I think it'd be more accurate to say the use of the term far right to label concerned British citizens is the snake oil of lazy government. And any anger, which he labels far right, is a consequence of failure in government. You can't blame the Tories forever, Comrade Kia. And listen to this.
It doesn't matter what apparent motivation there is. This is violence. It is not protest. It doesn't matter what the motivation is.
That's right. He doesn't care what happened. He doesn't care. Okay? But it gives him the excuse to crush the dissent that terrifies him. The dissent of the average British man and woman. And by the way, we still haven't been told anything about the motivation of the Southport killer. What could it possibly have been?
Good honest men are going to jail for saying that integration failed.
I hope so, Kurt.
So
I hope there is an uprising.
do you think that we're really free if we're not allowed to say what we see? Starmer's
They're going to have to put a lot of people in jail, Dan, about taking their guns back. I don't think they have a choice. They're going to have to give up on the stealing of the guns, I think.
a tyrant, but we won't be silent, 'cause he threatens his people. Starmer is evil, but we won't be silent, 'cause he threatens.
Now, how did he survive all that Epstein stuff? How in hell did he survive it? I thought they were going to kick him out.
His people. Starmer is evil.
Now, once they had tried very hard to manage the news about these murders in Southport, and they'd lied and patronised the entire British people in the process, what Two-Tier Kia and his cabal of apparatus chicks did next is truly chilling.
You know, everyone was angry because of what had happened. So those 3 little girls, the whole world was angry. My husband was then saying, you know, the government keep letting them come in to our borders. You know, kids are getting raped, filmed, what followed, things like that. You know, they're taking all our NHS, they're getting rehomed. You know, everyone coming in is just being given everything. And then things like this are happening in our country.
So what is it exactly that your husband has been accused of?
On the Saturday after Southport, he just put a status up saying the Daresbury Next, which is a hotel close to where we live, which have got immigrants and asylum seekers in there who were getting rehomed.
Illegals.
So he went inciting that he's going there to do anything. He was just saying, with all what's going on, that's the next place that'll most probably happen. People will start rioting and stuff. But he didn't put that. He just put, it's going to be the Daresbury next. Then people commented underneath his post, and he just put, it's the government's fault. If they stopped letting them in the borders, all this wouldn't be happening.
Okay, so he was being vocal on the immigration issue.
Yeah.
So now they're starting to arrest you for your opinion.
He went there for his daughter and for his little sisters to stand up and say, like, enough's enough.
With Jack being a father himself, he's a first-time dad to a little girl. He felt it.
I agree, he's a big pedo.
Like, it touched him emotionally, what was going on.
When he was there, he was waving his flag. He didn't say anything racist. He wasn't shouting abuse. He wasn't swearing.
There's actually numerous videos of the police telling Jack he has to put his flag down. He's not allowed to hold his country's flag. Jack saying to the police,
That and the Christian flag. You can't fly the Christian flag there. They're definitely going way after people for flying that.
listen, I'm not here for no violence. I haven't came for violence. I've came for a peaceful protest.
The reason why he was arrested was because the police blockade, or whatever they call it, where they all have the shields, they ran and pushed his mum over, Julie, his mum, she's 68-year-old. They pushed her over, trampled over her. She was on the floor, they trampled over her. Lee's seen this and then obviously tried to get through the police to get to his mum, who were on the floor. They were whacking him with a shield, sprayed him with CS gas, and he was saying, look, my mum's on the floor. I just need to get to my mum. When he was being, after he just got arrested, when he was being held round the back of the Bluebell, the police officers were saying, I don't even know why you've been arrested, because his mum were there as well, obviously. All her face was bruised. They could see that she'd been injured, badly injured. I don't know if he were a sergeant or just a normal police officer. He was saying, I'll ring my inspector and see if we can let you go, because I don't think it's serious enough to be arrested. It's like he said, if it were my mum, I would have done the exact same.
Obviously, we went home and we thought everything was fine, because obviously Jack didn't do nothing violent at all. And then that's when, exactly a week later, the police had knocked on the door, and then that's when he got arrested.
So they started booting my door through. My little girl was screaming in the garden, screaming in the garden, so my neighbour took her away.
Kind of reminds me of January 6th people.
So I asked them to stop booting my door down and asked them what they were here for, and they wouldn't tell me. And I said, have you got a warrant? And they said, we don't need to give you one. And I said, my back door's open and my back gate, you can go down there, stop booting my door through. So at that point, when he stopped, Chris was coming out with the police, and then they went in and raided my whole house, looking for his phone, and took the kids' iPads and stuff.
And was your little girl still there?
She'd been taken to my neighbours, but she was just crying her eyes out.
How long exactly did he get?
He got 5 years, a year taken off. Then they took
5 years.
Took into consideration his health and his mental health, and then they gave him 32 months.
He was sentenced to 3 years, 4 months, and also a 10-year criminal behaviour order.
You're not going to see your partner Lee now for 3 years, 4 months?
No.
How do you think you're going to cope with that?
I'm absolutely gutted. Gutted, Sammy.
It's broke the family up. Like, it's his daughter, he's a first-time dad to a little girl. Like, he's got Christmas coming up, it's the first one where she understands things. He's going to miss out on our first Christmas. He's missing out on our second birthday. Like,
she's just like a little shell. She's usually a bubbly little girl. She's just not herself. She's not the same little girl. She just, like, she sits and just stares into space.
Earth is shrinking, but the trees keep vomiting.
So with the most recent atrocity in Southport, and regardless of the murderer's motivation in this particular case,
Paula, that's a good way to put it.
It was the last straw. People were angry, not surprisingly. Not just about the Southport murderers, but about years of having their legitimate concerns about mass immigration being completely ignored. They're angry about two-tier policing and politicised judiciaries. But Labour cannot afford to have pesky voters asking questions about the consequences of open borders, mass immigration, and the incompatibility of some ideologies with our culture. So they create a different story. They turn everyone's attention to their imaginary monster, the far right, the fictional dragon they pretend to slay.
There's a lot of people that have branded people like Lee as a far-right racist thug. Is that true?
No, Definitely not. What I'll ever have been with him is never being racist.
No, Europe just voted to start deporting a lot of these illegals, and in Japan they're even deporting ones that have become citizens. They're kicking them back out.
They just put lies out there.
It's absolutely ridiculous, just everything that they've written. It's like there's actually an article about Jack that calls him far right as well, and obviously when I've spoke to Jack and made him aware of this, he's not happy. Like, he's kicking off, saying on the phone, he's saying, I'm not, they kind of just put me down as something that I haven't actually complied with. I haven't said that I am this type of person.
The last thing you would be is racist. And like every person, I think you should have loyalty to your country.
Yeah.
And if there's something wrong with your country, why can't you speak about it?
And more fanciful than that, they blamed the English Defence League.
Missiles were thrown at riot officers and a police van was set on fire by a large crowd of protesters believed to be supporters of the English Defence League.
We don't know where they streamed in from, but they're believed to be supporters of the English Defence League.
How many people work in Wales? There's over 50,000 apparatchiks chicks working in the Home Office alone. And no one told Tuti Kia that the EDL disbanded a decade ago. It hasn't been here for a decade. No one in MI5 reminded him that, 90% of the people that they're watching on a terror watch list, they follow Islam.
I am worried about the rise of the far right. I mean, we can see what's happening in Germany with the recent elections, see what's happening
You mean Christian nationalists?
in France and other countries. And I'm worried about the far right because it's the sort of snake oil of the easy answer.
I utterly condemn the far-right thuggery we've seen this weekend. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery. And it has no place on our streets.
Mindless minority of thugs who thought that they could get away with causing chaos.
But this deception is not without consequence, Kia.
The following will not be televised.
Exactly. What Jordan, all those places were Christian at one time. It's all part of the plan.
Muslim community leaders have been speaking to the police as well because
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
But I think, apologies for the language you're hearing, but
They're smashing up the people's cars. People are running.
Fucking hell!
Yeah.
The game might as well fucking fools in hands.
I didn't realize it, but what is it? Sweden is 30% Muslim now.
You know what? I disagree with that.
They come in and they have babies, abort our kids, and they trans them.
Them people are not racist,
I don't know, a car, I assume, with people in it, and they assumed that they were EDL, apparently, I'm not sure. And that's why they all ran.
Kia, you brought violent Muslim militias out on the streets. You lied to them. You created this facade of this far-right English Defence League roaming the streets. But at least people can see that there's a militia there waiting now.
He has caused this divide between everyone. He has labelled us ADL, far-right, racists. But I think people are angry, and it's all down to Keir Starmer because he hasn't addressed why people are angry, why people are taken to the streets with such anger. I mean, these poor lassies, they're someone's babies, and I think that's why people are thinking it could have happened to our kids.
Yeah.
And anyone who is even remotely concerned about mass migration and its impact on our way of life, will channel in Naz Shart's retweet You would all better shut up for the sake of diversity. Of course, the media clapped along with all this. They know there's no far right. They also know there's no EDL.
Hey,
or maybe
Marianne.
they're talking about those thugs who gathered in Trafalgar Square on July the 27th.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved someone like me.
Yeah, Heather, I played something about that the other day. They talked her into doing the maid thing, or killing herself, after she was paralyzed after being gang raped.
Was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now
Good voice.
Deflecting works, of course. Before the population could blink, and without them even realising, the headlines and the news were all focused on the imaginary monster, the imaginary far right. And everyone had stopped talking about the slaughter of innocent kids. It hasn't been mentioned again.
Something about that part of the far right thing is the left is so far left, they're driving people to the right.
It was totally forgotten. It was a successful government ploy. For me personally, they're working to blame me for the trouble on the streets.
Well, what we've heard, Julie, from a lot of the far-right figures is that these protests that we've been seeing...
And the media is a big part of this, constantly repeating this far-right bullcrap.
...over the last week are not about extremists, they're about ordinary people just having their say. Here's an example, and it's not the only one, from the man known as Tommy Robinson.
And probably the most influential instigator for all is Tommy Robinson.
For this to be hijacked by people lying on sunbeds in Cyprus.
It's been coordinated by...
Of course, they've arrested him more than once.
Man who's just fled England.
The English Defence League, give me their phone number, give me their email. I mean, the fella who's associated with most is on a sunbed in Cyprus.
Tommy Robinson.
He hates Europe, but there he is enjoying the European sunshine and stirring up poison and hate in this country.
There's no truth in that. Bring the case against me. Bring the evidence. The evidence shows the total opposite. Not once did I call for violence, ever. I asked people not to be violent.
Lads, you've got to remain calm. Look at our events in London. Totally peaceful, totally calm. Didn't matter. We were under attack by the media and politicians, by all of them. As far-right, racist, hooligans, all these things.
Doesn't fit their narrative, Paula.
Try to remain calm. Just an appeal for calm, man. Bring the numbers. Bring the noise.
Yeah, that's true.
But don't bring any violence, man. Movement come in.
I agree.
Galvanise the country. That's what we need to do. Unite people. Now, yeah, the level of violence...
Doesn't fit their takeover.
It won't work.
Our replacement.
Anyway, stay safe. Stop the violence, man. Listen to the men committing the violence. Lads, those individual police officers who are coming out doing a difficult enough job have got families at home. They're ordinary people. Okay? A peaceful revolution is brewing in Great Britain. A peaceful revolution.
Now, why are the British public angry? I want to pause and take a moment to answer that question. I want to take a moment to help Keir and his cabal of apparatus chicks, because he seems to know there are troubles, he admits it. There's troubles on our streets. But I fear he may have misdiagnosed the cause.
Well, it was publicised as being a protest against the lack of government action to deal with the increasing amount of stabbings and knife crime across the country, but in particular against the awful, atrocious, horrific, brutal murder of the 3 primary school age girls in Southport in their playgroup, which, like I think so many other people, I was incredibly upset and distraught about that.
Then what's happening is we're starting to fill the void of the press that's supposed to be doing its job. Do you know that in England and Canada, both, all the media is paid for by the government, and it's left-wing government that's paying for them. So they're not allowed to report much the other way. It's not really free.
And I went there in that spirit.
You're right, Paula. He is a lying piece of crap.
A peaceful protest. quarter to eight in the evening, the police, the riot police, decided to just charge on the crowd. There was absolutely no forewarning. There was no announcement by the police, like on a megaphone or anything like that, to say, can you clear the area? Can you move? Because we're going to start arresting people. They didn't do that. They just started arresting people.
Yeah, they could be killed in some places.
Out of the blue, suddenly,
I agree, Miriam.
without any notice whatsoever. And I turned round and I saw a police officer arresting someone. And then the police officer came towards me and arrested me. And I was handcuffed. I was handcuffed behind my back.
So you were arrested for standing in the street?
Basically, yeah. Well, absolutely, that was it. That was why I was arrested. And I did nothing, didn't resist arrest.
They're just arresting people for no reason. I'm literally out getting really worried.
I think this has been going on for a long time, with escalating concerns over rampant knife crime and stabbings and violence by some of the migrants and asylum seekers that is not being covered by the press.
It might end up
because
that way,
it doesn't
Kurt.
fit their narrative. Censorship, fear and intimidation is the tactics of a
Yeah, they've threatened Nick Shirley's life, and they would kill him if they have to.
dictatorship. It's the same as any dictatorial regime in the world. If you look at Venezuela, what's been happening there, the way they control their population, they send people to prison because of their political beliefs. This government isn't acting any differently from that. It may not be as extreme yet as that, but they're certainly headed in that direction.
We already know people are angry about the authorities covering up years and years of child rape gangs, mainly Pakistani Muslims. They are angry about two-tier policing. They're angry about politicised judges. They are angry when they see the police cowering before Islam in the name of diversity. Let's have a look at what else is going on.
Some of them, they're not screaming. It's like they wanted to be raped, you see. She also grabs you see, no
it's
more
like
crying.
she's enjoying it, you know, even though she isn't, but it's like she's enjoying it.
What about the consequences of what you're doing in terms of how that affects
Exactly.
the person that's raped?
Yeah, the consequences, we look at that all the time, you know, because it happens, she might scream, you know, people might wake up. A lot of people.
I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about the emotional effect, the physical effect it has on the girl.
Yeah. We might rape her and wake up tomorrow with viruses ourselves, like HIV, you know.
What about regretting what you've done to the girl?
But they seem to be okay with that.
I also do regret about it, because if she fell pregnant, what will be that baby's father? Who will be that baby's father?
But what about her personal feelings?
That's right. All over the country, unchecked migrants are raping and killing. And more unchecked migrants arrive every single day. Maybe this is a reason people are angry. Let's have a look at the rape statistics for the UK. Yeah, we're the rape capital of Europe. There might be a reason people are angry. Wasting money, killing pensioners.
Some breaking news from our end, actually. Channel migrant arrivals surged by 43%. That's from our Home and Security editor, Mark White. That's after 442 small boats crossed the Channel yesterday on Easter Sunday. That now brings the total for this year of 5,435 Channel crossings since the beginning of the year. That's well in excess of the 3,790 odd.
That's how many boats they know of. Boats, and there's several people on each boat. That's not counting all the other ways they're getting
Who'd crossed the Channel by small boat at this point in 2023.
We were getting daily updates of the numbers during the COVID pandemic. And actually, that's an astonishing amount. Over 440 boats yesterday. The weather's calmer at the moment, a little bit calmer. This is only going to increase over the summer.
There are 1.7 million. That's a combined population of Glasgow, Cardiff and Nottingham. There are 1.7 million who are unemployed. They're not even looking for work. They're costing you and I, the taxpayer, £8.5 billion a year. That's the equivalent to a winter fuel allowance of £708 per year for every pensioner in this country. That might be a reason people are angry.
How can we get that to happen?
Migrants. What about this?
You have been talking very graphically.
That's why they're taking the guns away, Paula.
For 2 months, she said her age is, do you want to see my dick? Yeah, do you want to taste it? you're asking other people's children to send them pictures of themselves.
Ain't going nowhere. You facilitated a meet with a child for sex, didn't you? 13 years of age she was. You sent pictures of your penis.
Farmers need
Yes?
bigger,
No me, no
big
me. Not you.
farmers.
No me. I don't know. Off your phone. I don't speak English. Do you not speak English?
How long have you been in the country?
Next time, put the guys in. I think 3 months. 3 months? No. You won't be done. Do you think it's okay to say that you want to eat and kiss a child's pussy? Do you? You want to get a child to your house, a 14-year-old girl you want to rape and abuse.
I get a lot of messages on Facebook, and I have a lot of friends that connected. That's what I use it for. I don't post that much there.
You'd think they'd be on their best behaviour.
Executive
They're busy
order.
online grooming young children to rape within weeks
The problem with executive orders, as soon as the next president gets in, they can take that down.
or days of being in our
And executive orders often are challenged in court all the time, and it stalls it.
country.
Kids were getting filmed by them from the residents that live in the Daresbury.
I used to call
Family
it
members
Antifa
had rang the police and stuff. The police had come. They'd move them on.
Time out.
Wouldn't take the phones or anything off them. People were getting followed from the Aldi by the illegal immigrants that are supposedly living in the Daresbury Hotel.
Okay.
But they're saying that there's no men or anything in that hotel. It's just all women and children.
Okay.
But,
Have you ever seen any men?
Yeah, but the whole of our area know that there's men in there.
There's, for many years, been a lot of complaints about the hotel, about the immigrants that are staying there. The crime rate.
that you're paying for with your tax dollars.
There's also been reports that children as young as 12, 13 and 14 have been getting followed and harassed. What do you think to that?
I was talking to a couple of ladies there who were telling me that a daughter had been exposed, that one were having a pee in bush around the lake, and it was showing his bits to a 6-year-old daughter. She reported it, nothing got done about it. Another lady who I was speaking to, her daughter actually worked in the hotel, and they used to follow her home every night.
That might be a reason people are angry. And you get locked up for tweets. If you object to any of this and speak out online in anger or with humour.
I was upstairs doing some work up in the attic loft space up in the house, and I had a massive bang. This was about an hour later, a massive bang, and I was like, what's that? So I started coming down the staircase from the loft, and another big bang. That was, and the door flew up, and all these police came walked up the stairs with the taser out.
Kicked the door off.
Yeah, they used one of them big battering ram things that absolutely destroyed the door. And they came running up the stairs, one with a taser out, hands behind your back, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And so I went with them. As I walked outside, there was about 8 or 9 coppers. They were everywhere. The warrant was for inciting racial hate on social media. I actually thought I'd walk into court, he would get laughed at, and I would come back, I'd be back out of court. I spoke to the duty solicitor, and then he told me, you are guilty though, Lee. You're guilty of sharing this pictures on your social media, so you are guilty. So I advise you to plead guilty to what they're saying to you in court today. I'm like, but I haven't done anything, there's no crime. And he's like, you're guilty of sharing these pictures.
So get straight.
Someday I'll tell the story. I was banned for life from Facebook. I got it back. It had to do with tracking terrorists.
You served 4 weeks in prison for sharing 3 memes.
Yeah, that weren't even illegal. I hadn't even broke the law.
Marianne, they can't get away with as much as they were doing since Trump's in on going after us on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that. Although they still are censoring to a degree, they shadow banned you on that.
It turns out now that I haven't even broke the law. Had a good job, a good woman.
Do you think you'll ever get a good job like that back?
No, definitely not. No, I've got this on my record now, haven't I? I'll be lucky if I even get clearance and get my vetting back for the job that I did do.
The government is imprisoning people for their tweets. That might be another reason people are angry.
Our prisons are on the point of collapse.
So today, a new announcement that come September, thousands of prisoners can leave jail earlier than they would have otherwise.
Well, they can't lock up these angry tweeters because the prisons are full. So they have to release thousands of prisoners early. That might be a reason people are angry. And he's made space in the jail. Not enough space for the BBC's latest paedophile superstar, Hugh Edwards, busy buying photos of children as young as 7 being raped. Doesn't spend a minute in jail. The judge was concerned about what might happen to him on the inside. He should be.
But no such concern shown for the right-thinking people of Britain tweeting their disgust at excessive...
Tammy, I do too much communication there, especially through Kurdish and Iranian people.
...government's failures. Every tyrant knows once you have created your imaginary enemy, you need to install fear in those in the population who are gullible enough to trust you. The number of people who still trust you and your government...
I believe in diversifying, being on just about everything.
Kia,
a little bit, even if you don't do much on something.
Sir Keir Starmer's approval rating has plummeted to its lowest level on record amid a growing cronyism scandal. The new poll shows almost 2/3 of voters think the government is more interested in serving its own interests than those of ordinary people.
More people trust us, mate. I know he's watching it, which is great. And so, in collusion with far-left activists like Nick Lowles of Hope Not Hate and its cabal of Labour politicians, Hope Not Hate. It's a good name, that. Hope Not Hate. But they appear to me to be driven by hate, not hope. Well, in collusion with them and the legacy media, the story is pushed that 100 riots are planned across the country. But it's all a lie.
And this was one of the potential protest sites for the far right on that list that was circulated on Telegram.
Of course, it was a lie. There was no riots planned. 100 demonstrations weren't even planned. Nick Lowles thought it was clever and the lie was funny. The government knew it was a lie. Hope Not Hate knew it was a lie.
Yeah, Dan, that's what I mostly do is message.
The papers knew it was a lie, but it didn't stop to consider whether it might be. But the lie was not without consequence.
That's why I started out. I was out on Facebook.
I love him. I love him. I love him. I do.
He needs an ambulance, so he does.
Kirk, do you see what he's trying to do to the farmers? He's trying to make it so you can have ham and stuff like that.
Samurai sword, you see? Is that a sword?
I don't have market
I'm sure the police will be all over those machete-wielding thugs.
I mean, they didn't put the others that came out with
I don't even know what marketplace on Facebook.
What happened to them? There's no, them are not in the paper addressed as racist thugs. It's just they portray us to be bad people.
And Lowles tweeted about this. See, that wasn't true either. That stirred up racial hatred.
We were born here. We are Muslims. We will stand here. We will fight against EDL. We will fight our ground. Our innocent Muslim sisters are getting acid attacked. Must get breaking. Everyone should be here. Fuck the EDL.
Yesterday I showed that woman that had her face all acided. She's had 160 surgeries to try to fix it.
The top tier of Labour MPs and support resigned after that tweet. But Hope Not Hate is still a Labour-controlled disinformation unit.
In Canada, they're trying to take the guns. They've only gotten 2% of them so far. I don't know, that's not going too well.
By the way, Mark Rowley, if you're still in the police when this film goes out, when are you going to arrest Comrade Lowles for spreading false rumours and inciting racial hatred? So Lowles doesn't get arrested for his lies, but Bernadette Spovroff, a Cheshire businesswoman who sent an erroneous tweet about the Southport murderer, she was arrested. She was held overnight. Then not released, but she was bailed pending further inquiries, which have since been cleared.
I had expressed my own views on the state of the country and its failure to protect innocent citizens, and that is still legal. But it's very clear that a vocal part of our society wants the opinions of ordinary people like you and like me suppressed. They say they support free speech, but they mean only the speech they agree with. They say they support dialogue, but only the dialogue that agrees with their worldview. And they say they want equality, but they don't mean for people.
It all started with the whole safe spaces so you couldn't have a different opinion around them. That's when it all started.
Who think differently to them.
Now, we've had nearly a year of violent anti-Semitic hate marches on the streets of Britain. The legacy media describes them as largely peaceful. Citizen journalist footage suggests that's a lie.
The only solution is jihad.
I am seeing their rallies getting bigger and bigger, John. They are trying to come back, but I'm wondering if it's too far gone. They have to replace their leadership.
Listen carefully to what this guy here in the middle of the video says in a moment. Did you hear that? We are ready to kill you all, is what the man said. Let's have a listen to the rest of it. Take a look at how the police respond. The police stand there and do absolutely nothing.
You are racist, all of you. Okay. Racist. Take your hand. Take your hand. Take your hand. Don't do that. Don't do that for me. Take it. That's very good. You're messed up in your head, my friend. And you are nothing to me. All of you.
Do it. Go on, mate. Go on, then. Go on. Do it. Go on. What the fuck are you going to do? Attack me again? Again? What?
Good point, Paula. The whole trophy things. Don't hurt their feelings.
Today, guys.
Don't hurt their feelings. And you got white liberals going right along with them. They're insane. The other thing is our college campuses. They're so left-wing.
The Hamas marches were largely peaceful, just like this was a largely peaceful social services call-in in Leeds.
Jesus.
Oh my fucking.
That's the police running away from Romani gypsies and Pakistani rioters in Hare Hills, Leeds, after a social services call.
The other thing, Tammy, they're told to stand down, even if they had guns.
Turned violent. The Hamas marches were largely peaceful, just like this was a largely peaceful chat between armed police at Manchester Airport and a largely peaceful Muslim family. By the way, these men, they were released without charge when a baying mob of Muslims turned up at Rochdale Police Station demanding their release.
Immediately, every one of them officers needs to be arrested immediately. If not, then we will go to Plan B and you will see big protests, I promise you. Protests like you've never seen before.
The Muslims demanded the police are suspended.
Yeah,
guess what?
Tammy.
They were. The police suspended. And the cowering police are now focused on finding the person who leaked the CCTV footage. Total.
Oh, in Wisconsin and Minnesota and Dearborn, Michigan, there's many streets named after Muslims now.
Insanity. Have the Islamic thugs who battered the police on camera, have they been charged yet? No, they haven't. And yeah, the Hamas marches were largely peaceful, just like the Notting Hill Carnival was largely peaceful. Here's the legacy media's headline on that one.
Last hour, they've given us an update that they've made 38 arrests and recovered 4 knives. And they said a man believed to be in his 20s has been stabbed. His injuries are not life-threatening. But overall, it's been a really peaceful and enjoyable day.
So, no swift justice for the Hamas rioters.
Here the end there. Oh, but it's been mostly peaceful day.
For the Leeds rioters, the Manchester Airport thugs, or Nick Knowles. I wonder why. And no swift justice for the killers of Notting Hill Carnival. That was just a cultural celebration, of course. So we know the police treat different groups differently. No credible commentator would dispute it.
In 2020, we had Black Lives Matter protests during COVID. During COVID lockdowns.
Yeah.
Sir Keir Starmer, now our Prime Minister, rushed to take the knee to express his solidarity with Black Lives Matter after they'd already injured 30 police officers during their protests, after they'd broken the law with the COVID lockdowns.
Yeah.
And Keir Starmer rushed to take the knee, and he said, there are legitimate grievances here. This is about racial injustice, because rioting on the left, remember, is the voice of the unheard.
Yeah.
This time around, the same Keir Starmer, despite us seeing videos on social media of Muslim gangs beating up white British kids on the street, walking around with knives and machetes, this time around, Keir Starmer said, this is all far right. This is not legitimate. It's criminality. Get these people into prison as quickly as possible. There was no discussion of legitimate grievances. There was no discussion of legitimate protests.
But now Two-Tier Keir appears to have ordered the stormtroopers to grab and arrest anyone, literally anyone who protests or tweets against the government.
Mostly peaceful, I know.
Obviously, except for Hamas-loving protesters, anti-Semites, members of the Muslim militia. None of them.
The thing, Heather, is now the people are reporting more on this. So they can't get away with that mostly peaceful stuff. Recall them on the bull.
This is the moment police raid the home of a mother and a son suspected of violent disorder in Middlesbrough.
Here comes the door, I'm going to put it in.
If you're involved in the disorder on that day, we will identify you, we will arrest you, and we will put you before the court.
National figures show 1,000.
Yeah, better not make a bad post.
1,165 people arrested, 703 charged. Those figures, again, will increase.
Have the police made any high-quality videos of them arresting Muslims carrying machetes in the streets? Or men fighting with knives and machetes in our parks?
Honestly, not.
Or a single grooming gang that have raped children? No, they haven't. They save their high-quality videos for people saying mean words on Twitter.
We do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrest.
That the UK actually has a massive force of police officers scouring the internet for any repost, retweet, or original content that could theoretically incite whatever the government deems to be racial hatred. And if you engage with or repost that content, you are deemed so dangerous for society that they will arrest and prosecute you.
So this is another man being sentenced to prison for a Facebook post that he made. And in this video, the judge tells you what he posted and how long he's getting in prison. And I'll let you make your own mind up. Have a look at this.
You went on to say that you did not want your money.
This guy is so friggin' left-wing. I've seen him try so many patriots in England. It's annoying. He hates white Christians.
Going to immigrants who, quote, rape our kids and get priority. Given the life of Riley, off the tax us hard-working people earn when it could be put to better use. Come over here with no work visa, no trade to their name, and sit down and DOS. And then there's more people being put out homeless each year. They get top band priority on housing and many more reasons. This offence is...
See, he's reading the other person's post.
So serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable. The sentence that I passed has been reduced by 1/3 to reflect your guilty plea. The sentence is one of 20 months imprisonment.
Every tyrant knows you...
For that post, he's getting 20 months in jail.
Can't run a totalitarian state unless the judges do what you tell them to. In Russia, North Korea, they're awarded DACAs, second homes in the...
Maybe they're afraid of him, Paula, or they're just so brainwashed leftists that they believe all that bullcrap.
The countryside. In England, you get honours for doing what you're told. Honours.
Let's be very clear. This has not been about protest. This has been about violence and thuggery.
Bewildered Yvette, tough on crime, tough on imaginary crime.
A lot of them do like the little kids. There might be minos or whatever, where they believe in, what's those called, minor attractive persons or some stupid thing.
The message to the judges was clear. People who tweet dissent, they're criminals. That's what she said, judged before any trial. And those judges have been busy.
You have brought shame on yourself and the town of which you are a resident. You must be punished for what you did. The only mitigation, as I have indicated, is your guilty plea. Accordingly, the sentence is reduced to one of 2 years and 8 months imprisonment. I appreciate that will
2 years and 8 months imprisonment for that.
Fall hard upon you as a senior citizen
Most of these cases that I've been reading about, for example, the case of this poor man, David Springer, 61-year-old, who's been working as a train driver for 42 years, who's now taking care of his sick wife, who has been sentenced to jail because they wanted to make a sacrificial lamb out of him. They wanted to set an example to the rest of the UK. And that message was very clear. That message was, you don't get to disagree with us. You don't get to be present at these protests, because David Springer did absolutely nothing. And we have video footage of that. He was there. He, according to the reports, maybe shouted something at the police. Well, boo-hoo. Is that worth 18 months in jail? A mother of 5 being sent to 26 months in jail because she threw a can at the police?
Yeah.
Is that proportionate? A man online who committed the...
No, this kind of stuff's happening in Canada too. Not quite as bad as England yet, but it's heading there.
Crime of, according to the government, inciting racial hatred because he posted one post on Facebook? Is that proportionate?
That's right. Bang. You're inside serving years. And let's take another look at some of the judges who sent people to jail for hurty words. That's right. Rape, steal and stab. Let's just put it down to cultural differences. It's community service for you, lad. Fence painting, picking up litter for a few hours. So tell me how our judiciary are not politicised, how they're not compromised and a tool of the state. And to the judges, I hope you get the honours.
Could you imagine if you had a whole team of Karens and you had to go to trial and they were on your jury or your judge?
Promise, lads. Tin pot, despot, Kia. Your political judiciary might be another reason people are angry. Maybe.
This isn't just two-tier policing. This is a two-tier political and social system that is routinely prioritising racial, sexual and gender minorities at the expense of the majority.
Now, every tyrant knows the media is a tyrant's best friend. Well, the media that does what you want them to, they're your friends. Everyone else, they need to be shut down, which definitely includes us.
I would prefer that the conventional media was more powerful, because social media, it's, you know, the truth of the matter is it's got many great aspects to it in terms of the way people interact with each other, but in politics it's a bit of a plague.
That's right. They call it misinformation. You and I, we call it the truth. And the legacy media, they've been a cheerleader for mass migration agendas of successive governments. They've continually supported their open border policies.
My point is, don't let that happen here in the USA.
Just look at this.
والله الشعور وقت انحبست أنا عند شهر كامل بالسجن، حسيت إنه أنا لو كنت بسوريا أو بالأردن كان أحسن لي صراحة. يعني كنت لأنه ظلم وبظلم وانحبست شهر.
That's right. The people held up to us by the media as shining examples, they all turn out to be rapists as well. More migrant rapists. But in the interests of balance, were the legacy media unlucky to choose the migrants as poster boys who turned out to be rapists?
Illegals.
No, they weren't unlucky. The British aren't stupid. We all know people affected by these rapes. The unchecked illegal migrants you are actively ferrying into our once green and pleasant land. They're raping our daughters. They're killing, they're murdering.
So tell me about university. How did that start?
I only decided last minute that I wanted to go to university on my gap year a few months before. It was a very last minute decision. I just felt like I wanted a little bit of a change of plans in my life at that.
How long had you been at university before the attack happened?
2 months.
So not long.
Yeah, new city, new lifestyle.
Okay.
I'd first met this man, or seen this man, way back in the city centre.
Okay.
He'd followed me for a very long time before the attack.
Okay, so he'd followed you for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened?
So he just kind of grabbed me on the street and just kind of pulled me into the churchyard.
So he pulled you into the church?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Then he kind of pushed me against, it was like a concrete block.
Okay.
And then just kind of pulled down my underwear.
I suppose it's every parent's worst nightmare. She's very innocent, very trusting. And I was told that
It happens to me once in a while too, Tammy.
just needed to step back as a dad.
Don't worry about it.
You want to take control, and you want to get in there and fix all the problems. But on this occasion, I had to step back and trust the police.
And how long was it before you got to trial?
It was 6 months, exactly 6 months.
Oh,
from the day
happy.
he was demanded.
And did you go in
Oh, I see. It changed one word.
and give evidence?
Happy instead of happy.
I did.
That must have been difficult. How was that?
It was difficult. It was especially difficult because I had my final exams for uni on the same week.
Wow.
University.
Yep, Kirk, the Arab Spring.
My exams for university were
It's
over
all
a
part of
2-week
it.
period, and it fell in the same week as the trial. So I was in and out of the exam hall and in and out of the courtroom at the same time.
When the court case was going on, I booked all the time off. My intention was to go there for every day of the case, but I was pretty much told do not come by the police and the barrister due to the severity of it. My daughter closed down, didn't want any help. She was going to deal with this herself. It was very tough on her. She had lots of breakdowns. We had to drive up to where she was many times, 2, 3 in the morning to help her.
So tell me about the rapist, where we're living.
So this is what really gets to me is he was staying in a hotel and it's not far from a student village. Now,
So he was living very close by to the university.
yeah, walking distance. The people that are coming illegally, but it says it, they're illegal. They've broken the law when they set foot on our shores. They've broken
You missed a
our
lot of
laws.
good stuff.
So at that point, they should then be detained and processed as criminals. But I don't believe they are. I believe they're being sent to hotels, being given money and free reign to just wander freely,
Your tax dollars.
throughout the community.
He can apply for parole in just 8 years. If he comes out and he's not deported and he's going to be living here, what do you plan to do?
I plan on leaving the country within 7 years.
You just want to
7
be away
years.
from him?
Yeah, I don't want to be out in the same.
Do you think he should be deported?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's changed. Our relationship has changed. I don't think it'll ever be the same
How has it
as it was.
changed?
We were quite close. We'd talk quite a lot. I was always there to support her and help her and guide her. But now, I can message her and I could go maybe a week or 2 weeks before she'd respond to that message.
Okay.
We'd play games. We don't play games anymore. I'll call and she won't answer. She's a lot more distant.
How do you feel as a parent when Sophie leaves the house now?
Awful. It's really tough. So she does have a job. She does go to work part-time, and she does have to walk from where she's living to this job.
Okay.
And she can be walking home later at night now.
Okay.
It's not, and we've got Find My Friends, so I can see where she is and when she's leaving.
Yeah.
And my heart I've had to stop looking at it, because if I try and get an early night, because I've got to be up really early with work, and I Find My Friends and I can see that she's still at work, I'll then stay up and I'll follow her all the way home.
I've added some other clips to this, Colin.
And it's heart-wrenching, because then you'll see the dot stop and straight away your mind goes to the absolute worst.
Is this an isolated case? Was this just one migrant in one city who has been housed and fed and paid for by the British public who's decided to rape an English woman walking home? Or is this happening widespread across the country by migrants housed in hotels? Kia, maybe this is why people are angry. Maybe, and let's just have a little challenge here. Let's go on the internet and search a couple of cities. I could pick any city in the UK and search migrant, refugee, rape, and it will bring up cases. We simply don't have time to go through every rape of a migrant in every hotel for this documentary. But can you understand why people are angry? And if it's not the migrants in the hotels, just refugees and asylum seekers are literally raping in every single town and city across the UK. Kia, maybe these are the reasons the British public are angry. Now, the media told you the people in Hartlepool were far right for protesting the hotel. What they don't discuss is the fact that one of the migrants in the hotel left the hotel, committed an act of terrorism, murdered a 70...
some of them, Marianne, some of them had committed suicide after being raped because they couldn't take it. And parents have done also.
Year-old British grandfather. His family will be angry.
If their kids get killed, they commit suicide.
The community will be angry. Maybe the people in Bournemouth are angry because an asylum seeker come into our country, lied, like they all do, said he was 14 years old. What checks did you do on him? You put him straight in school with our daughters. So people in Bournemouth might be angry because their daughters were put in school with an adult who pretended he was a child.
100%, Tammy. They got to get rid of him. I thought the COVID thing was going to, not COVID, the whole Epstein files was going to get rid of him, but they somehow he stayed in power.
He went on to sexually harass children, chase people with knives, and later he murdered a 21-year-old in Bournemouth city centre. A Royal Marine was brutally murdered by this asylum seeker. Then the Home Office do their checks. Then we find out he wasn't 14, he was 19. He was a fully grown adult male. And you put him in school with children. Then we find out that on his way to Great Britain, he murdered 2 people with an AK-47 in Serbia. That's right, a cold-blooded killer with no checks, with no vetting, was put in school with parents in Bournemouth. People in Bournemouth are not angry because they're far right or they're racist. It's justified anger because you're failing them time and time again. It's a reality. This is justified anger because of government failures, but they cover it all up. They don't want to talk about their failures. Just blame it on the imaginary far right. No Keir Starmer, no the establishment, no the media, and no the government.
Wasn't it Hitler that ran, had to run against something? They always had the same thing with Stalin. They run against something.
Every part of this is your fault. It's your failures. You've brought these people into our towns and cities. You've endangered our families. That's why the British public are angry. Look at this. Of course, any statistician will tell you correlation doesn't mean causation. But it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Let's have a look at the statistics for Sweden, since they opened their borders with rape as well. Literally, the graphs look identical for any country with open border mass migration, Islamic immigration, and rape. Remember, there's 1.7 million unemployed and economically inactive migrants here right now, costing £8.5 billion a year. Anyone out there working right now, you're paying that in your taxes. He says nothing and does nothing about radical Muslim preachers.
How about the one who commits adultery, zina? What about the one who rapes a child? What about the one who drinks alcohol? To the bed. This person, one person that commits all of these sins, he commits all of these sins on a daily basis, but he prays is better in the eyes of Allah than the one that doesn't commit any of these sins but doesn't pray.
King, queen, also Allah. If you accept it, then you're a part of it. You don't accept it, but you have to dismantle it.
He said, "O tribes of kuffar, O tribes of disbelievers, get out of his way, for we have come to strike you a revelation, a strike that removes the head from the shoulders." Allah says, "We will strike terror into the hearts of the kuffar. We will strike terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve." Why? Because they associate partners with Allah. Because they associate partners with Allah, that for which Allah never gave them no authority.
You got your democracy.
It is really like a cult. It really is a cult.
We got our own Sharia. You got your own free mixing. We got our own nikah. Oh, we got our own economic system. We got our own foreign policy. We got our own deen.
Alcohol will be banned, drugs will be banned, pornography will be banned, gambling will be banned, but the money stays between that we know what.
That guy's really sick and evil.
He says and does absolutely nothing about knife crime on our streets.
Oh my God, they were singing it!
He says nothing and does nothing about Islamic terrorism, jihad, Islamic courts, female genital mutilation, misogyny. He can't tell you what a woman is. He kneels from Black Lives Matter. I could go on and on, but he can dispense summary justice for anyone who disagrees with him. Remember how they hate scrutiny. They can't allow their agendas and failures to be exposed. Make a dissenting tweet, go to jail. Go directly to jail. Enter the UK illegally. Come on in. How was your trip? Have a 5-star hotel. And now listen to this.
Both got put away for the riots. Both been put in the same prison. Both been put in the same cell. In the last 48 hours, the wing that they put them on was 90% Muslim. Both of them.
I think I've seen some of that Liz Harrison stuff. I can't remember exactly.
He's been attacked in the shower. They took the shower heads off, battered him. When he managed to get back to his cell, his other mate had been completely battered as well. The family's obviously distraught and everything. They're making targets of them, as well as like examples of them. They're making targets of the lads. they did some damage to them as well.
That's right. Two-tier Kia is putting the unhelpfully outspoken citizens in prisons run by Islamic gangs. He's literally offering them up. Any concerned parents, any concerned British citizens, he put a target on them, calling them far-right EDL racists, and now they're getting hurt in prisons up and down our country.
Somebody who knows about these things told me that, any right-wing, far-right protester landing up in jail, they can expect a pretty cold reception from what he says are Asian gangs inside prison who will be looking out for them.
Keir told
Muslim gang.
everyone they're far-right extremists. Their blood is on your cowardly hands, Keir. You disgust me. You disgust Britain. Now, every tyrant knows they can process people more quickly without dropping the facade. If these irritating political dissidents, if they just plead guilty. So they pressurise them. People who have never been in trouble with the law before and who shouldn't be before the law now. They shouldn't even been in court. They frighten these people into pleading guilty. It's easy for you, they say. Just plead guilty. It's easy for your family. Just say you did it.
His solicitor obviously
I
stood up
didn't know
and
what
said,
time that launch was.
what do you have on him? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything wrong, but the judge, he just didn't want to hear it. He was just shaking his head.
Obviously, some people have now been sentenced, your partner Lee to be one of them. What do you think to the actual sentence?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. 3 years, 4 months. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And what is it that he's actually being accused of?
He's being charged with violent disorder.
Did he plead guilty or not guilty?
He had to plead guilty, got told.
Who told him that?
The solicitors and his barrister. And then when he was in the custody, the police said that we'll have social services at our door and stuff.
For his best
A lot
interest,
of times they do that because they want the truth coming out in court.
it would be to plead guilty to the violent disorder, because if he didn't, the starting time was 5 years and he would have no time taken off for his guilty plea. So obviously Jack's fault. I'm already missing out on my daughter's Christmas, our birthday, everything. So he put his guilty plea in.
They'll try to persuade you to
That's how they twist your arm.
plead guilty, because then you'll get a reduced prison sentence. Your conviction will be downgraded. Then the headlines will say, oh, look, all these people who pleaded guilty, they must be guilty. And that's not why you pleaded guilty. You pled guilty in order to avoid a lengthier sentence.
Well, it's scared everyone. I mean, nobody wanted to even go out now because of the sentences these men have been given. I don't agree with the riots, the smashing the place up and everything else, but I do agree with free speech and you should be able to protest on the streets.
It's just like the post office scandal all over again. Plead guilty and it'll be easier for you. Innocent people suffering. These people are heroes. These people have sacrificed everything. These people are an example to each and every one of us. Actually, we have more than one problem. Our first problem is we're led by tyrants. People whose allegiance is to the World Economic Forum, not the British people. People who are vain and deluded enough to believe that they, and only they, the elite, they can create a global utopia, with them in charge, of course. The World Economic Forum has already published their plans.
This global reset is necessary because we have seen that our policies which we pursued before the
He needs hanging.
coronavirus struck us, that those policies do not create the necessary inclusion of society necessary for harmonious societal development.
We are led by people who don't believe in borders, people who don't believe in nations, people who don't believe in freedom. These are people who are full of lust for power, people who are rapidly dismantling the cultural inheritance with which we were all blessed. Freedom, equality under the law, Magna Carta, and democracy. These are people who want you to be dependent on the state so they can control you. We are led by globalists, totalitarians, and communists. This is the main problem. These tyrants are also cowards. They're driven by fear. They fear so many things: being exposed, losing power, the truth, Islam, and they fear we, the people. They are bewildered and frightened, and like any cornered animal that makes them dangerous, they lash out at their own citizens, vulnerable individuals. They're busy arresting children, but they won't confront Islam. They may be too frightened of what might happen if they do. Or maybe they don't know what to do about Islam. Or perhaps they don't care that Islam is incompatible with our way of life, because these communists care little for our way of life. Regardless, for now, they cower before Islam. They leave unchallenged the masked armed gangs, the mobs, the militias that wreaked havoc on the streets, because chaos serves their purpose. It gives them a reason to act against dissent, and the dissent for now is from the British people, tweeting about the government's failures. And right
it's women that suffer the most from this happening.
now, of course, our nation is crumbling under the weight of mass migration, legal and illegal. So many men from countries and cultures that will not assimilate, cultures that teach their children to hate the West. It's out of control, and it serves the purposes of the globalists, the totalitarians, Kia and his apparatchik communists. Mass migration is part of their plan.
Okay.
So, to the people of the United Kingdom, I'm afraid the picture is grim. Our country is in peril. We are led by tyrants and cowards. Our borders are porous. The government is imprisoning its political opponents. That's right. We now have political prisoners, ordinary, law-abiding people imprisoned for their views. Let that sink in. We all need to understand the freedoms our forefathers fought for, the cultural inheritance with which we were blessed. Neither of these things, our freedom nor our culture, neither's guaranteed. We are only ever one generation away from tyranny. We have never had to live under a fascist or communist regime. That isn't luck. People fought and died to preserve our freedoms. Yet Tutir Kia, his Stasi police and his political judges, with their kangaroo courts and summary justice, their failure to apply the law when it suits them, they are trampling on the Magna Carta, that document that shackles the power of authority, that shields all free-born men and women against tyrants and dictators. As Thomas Fairfax declared, holding up the Magna Carta back in the 17th century, this is what we have fought for, and by God, it must be maintained. The principle that lies at the heart of the Magna Carta is that the powers that be, they must obey the law, and they must apply it without fear or favour. That all, including
what's 8:15, John?
The members of the government are subject to and equal before the law. Keir Starmer, you and your political bureau, your student union cabal of tyrants and cowards, you have failed more quickly than anyone could have predicted.
Do you think we have freedom of speech in our country?
No, 100% not. And I think that Jack's case just shows that we do not have freedom of speech in this country anymore. You cannot say what you want anymore.
No, that's gone. I thought we might have had a little glimmer of it, but we haven't.
Yeah.
There's no such thing anymore.
We haven't got freedom of speech. You've got to really be careful what you say to anyone and everyone.
The UK is no longer a free nation. If you do not have democratic options to express your disagreement with the government, that country is no longer a democracy.
The process is the punishment, and it will silence millions. And when we are silent, that is the end of our free speech. And many people still believe that if they allow the government to micromanage their lives and be their single source of truth, then things will be okay. Until one day they don't agree with their government and they find it isn't okay because they can't speak of it. Without free speech, there is no democracy. And without democracy, there really is only tyranny.
We are free-born English men and women. Your tyranny will fail. Sacrifices have to be made. The courageous political prisoners already know that. Men sitting in jail right now, they know that. And this government will be held to account more quickly than they expect. The tyranny we are seeing now, it's been years in the making. Blair, Cameron, May, Johnson, Sunak, and now Starmer. They're all subjects of the World Economic Masters and its totalitarian agenda. Years and years of small steps, controlling your speech, importing hell, taking your freedoms. So,
sort of like Boil the Frog.
The hour is upon us. The time is now. Each one of us must take a stand. We must build communities of resistance. We must organise politically. Conservative Labour, Lib Dems. We must drive every globalist from power. We must reclaim our nation.
This is very urgent business, ladies and gentlemen, I beseech you.
resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing. You will be told you can't complain. Watch out for these symptoms. They are just symptoms of surrender. Resist it while you can.
We must resist while we still can.
I thought that was pretty good. All right, I'm going to get on to the other ones to squeeze this in here. Here's a mother. Well, I'll just play it and then talk about it.
David Martin, John McDowell, mention Castlereagh Prison where you go. You're put into prison if you stand up for prison truth. My son is in here in a prison cell, locked in with criminals, because he won't use the they pronoun. That's why my son is in here today. He won't call a young boy they. So you go to prison if you stand up for Christian truth.
So he's jailed in prison for not using the right pronouns.
And it's a shame for the churches. Shame upon you, Eamon Martin. Shame upon you, Gangster John McDowell. Those primates of Ireland don't listen to a word they say because you're put into prison.
So because of her speaking up now, she's going to get arrested.
Prison if you stand up for prison truth. I say speak about Ukraine and the Middle East. Eamon Martin, talk about Castlereagh Prison. Eamon Martin, John McDowell, mention Castlereagh Prison where you go, or Docus, if you stand.
Be careful. Careful of step there. Mind your head. Mind your head.
Mind your head.
Stand up tonight. Okay.
That's not up to us to decide.
He's telling lies that my son is not in prison for not accepting transgender ideology. The whole country knows he is. He said he would not use the they pronoun.
This is Judge Brian Cregan. He has told many lies. He's told many lies about Enoch Burke.
This is in Britain.
And indeed about ourselves.
And they use the Equal Status Act.
Yes, he's
the Equal Status Act.
At the very start.
4 years ago, to put Enoch Burke behind bars. The Equal Status Act has nothing whatsoever to do with transgender.
That was Judge Eileen Roberts, and she would have known that. She relied on the Equal Status Act to say that the school were within their rights. The Equal Status Act says nothing about transgenderism. So she knew she was misleading. She was telling lies.
That's not the zoo.
No, that's from the very start. The courts, the judges have lied about why.
Do you, as the guard, the Síochána of this country, do you care that you're taking two people? We are in Castlebar this morning teaching young people that have exams coming up. That's where we want to be. My son would like to be in the front of his class as well. Do you care? Would you open your mouth about that if the court is wrong?
We have a high court order.
Well, you're all human beings. Do you just do what you're told?
But we can't change that. We have
a lot of these judges are ordering this stuff too.
But do you care?
What I care about doesn't make a difference.
Do you care?
It doesn't make a difference.
How corrupt
we have
this
a high
country
court
is.
order to bring you to the market.
Yeah, and you're back in Westport today. Yeah. A lot of you talking to Jim Callahan and talking
we
about
weren't
us.
in Westport today. We're in Castlereagh.
Yeah, but you're looking for the this and that.
Oh, it's Southern Ireland.
There's no argument. It would be great.
You're under
Thanks,
arrest
Mark.
In relation to this order.
We have
order.
two orders here to bring you.
So you're making us now take up place in a prison.
Now they're going to get arrested too.
Prison. In a prison. The prison at
not just your son for using the day, not using the they instead of a son pronoun or a male pronoun.
That's the order we have. That's the order we have.
Enoch Burke has constitutional rights. He has the right to the free profession and practice of his religious belief.
It's not to do with us here today.
The courts have lied about why Enoch was disciplined in the first place.
That's a matter for the court or for the judge. It's not a matter for us here today. We can't change that today.
Do you care though? Do you care though?
These orders to bring both of you.
What about all of you?
It was my job. It was my job. I'd care.
Move over to the
I'd care.
Can you please stop
I'd care. You give an account to God for your doings. You're giving account to God for your
Can
doing.
you come over to the van, please?
We want to be in Castlebar with our young
understand.
people who have exams coming up.
But we have orders to
That's
bring
where we
people
want to
You're
be.
under arrest on foot of
a High Court order. I'm now going to handcuff from Judge Cregan, who's telling lies.
Do we need to put
Telling
handcuffs on you? Because I'd rather not.
I don't.
Okay, well,
Burke has been in prison for over 600 days.
I'm not going to have you handcuffed.
He was denied his constitutional rights.
We're executing a
we
high
just have
court
to
order.
execute the orders, okay?
You don't have to execute orders
We do,
or that are
unfortunately.
corrupt.
We've been directed by a high court judge. So.
Do you want to tell me what's happening here today?
Sorry.
Well, we were just visiting Enoch Burke here in
continue to
prison,
Vander,
in Castlereagh
please.
prison. Enoch has been in prison for over 600 days. Martina and I were just visiting Enoch today. And what we have now is Gardaí.
Because they wouldn't use the pronoun they.
We've Gardaí who are seeking to arrest us and to bring us
Whatever you want,
Absolutely
you get.
to bring us
ridiculous.
to Docus prison.
My
to-
son is
to
in
put
here
us
in a prison cell, locked in with criminals, because he won't use the they pronoun.
It's a
That's why
scandal,
my
it's a
son is in
disgrace.
here today.
It's
He
an
won't
absolute
call a
disgrace.
young boy they. He won't encourage a young boy to go along the path of puberty blockers. And
Dykes, right?
surgeries,
And
Here, I hope you
surgeries,
can-
surgeries,
rotten hell.
mutilation of their body parts.
That's why he's in
Enoch
there.
is saying no to this, and as a result of this, Enoch is in prison behind this.
Insanity. This is
Mind to
insanity.
step you up, please.
So this is what happens in this country.
So you go to prison
Yeah,
if you
sit you
stand
down.
up for Christian truths, and it's a shame for the churches. Shame upon you, Eamon Martin. Shame upon you, gangster John McDowell. Those primates of Ireland don't listen to a word they say, because you're put into prison if you stand up for Christian truth. Don't listen to them. As they speak about Ukraine and the Middle East. Eamon Martin, talk about
But they can't go after the rape gangs.
Castlereagh prison. Eamon Martin, John McDowell, mention Castlereagh prison where you go, or Docus, if you stand.
Be careful. Careful of step there.
Mind your head.
Mind
your head.
This is what happens in Ireland when you stand against perjury and corruption and lies in the High Court.
I wonder how much time they're going to get.
And those lies have been told ever since 2022, when Enoch Burke was first taken from his teaching post at Wilson's Hospital School because he refused to comply with the Principal Niamh McShane's request that he use the they/them pronoun for a young child. That's what's happening here today now. Martina and Amy Burke spoke out against the lies and the corruption
Now they're being arrested.
Judge Brian Cregan. So that's what happens in this country when you speak against lies and corruption in the court.
Unbelievable. All right.
Another 2 schools have banned socks for girls because they're saying that ankles distract the male students and the male staff. But get this, right? Come September, skirts are also banned, which means that these girls are expected to wear tights underneath their
full Muslim
trousers. And they've even said that the trousers cannot be tight and they have to be loose fitting around the bum, and this will be monitored by staff inspecting the girls from behind. Idsal School did something similar where ankles weren't allowed to be on shore, and if any girls had them on shore, they would be punished. They'd be placed in isolation or detention. I mean, all of this, and then kids go to college and they can do whatever they want. I mean, within reason, of course. I mean, you cannot tell me that school, secondary school, isn't some form of test to see how compliant they will be. This has got absolutely nothing to do with learning. Nobody cares about anybody's ankles, so why make a big deal out of it? Or is it just another reason to enforce another punishment? Where does it end?
Yep, pretty bad. This is Ground Zero.
He is a dangerous, horrible predator. He has shown no remorse at all.
He is attracting children in school uniform into the back of his shop.
Yeah.
With vapes.
Yeah, and alcohol and THC.
And this was a paedophile. You believe he was expressly using vapes to attract children, school children, so he could sexually abuse them.
100%. There is no other reason why. He previously had a vape shop in Hayes, in Bromley, and a 16-year-old victim had come in asking for a job. She said, I need work. And he said to her, yeah, fine, like you can work for me for 4 days. I'll give you £180 to a 16-year-old who he didn't know. And then she sort of describes that the first day she worked there for 4 hours, nothing happened. The second day she came, and he was extremely sexual towards her straight away, telling her he loved her, hugging
My message thing says I have over 3,000 messages.
her, trying to kiss her, and
There's a
that's,
lot going on
she
over
reports
in
it later on
Iran.
that same day as well, because she runs from the shop when he grabs her bottom and she thinks, I'm in trouble here, I need to get out.
This paedophile offends a second time in a second shop when he's already on bail for similar charges elsewhere in another shop. What do you think about that?
Clearly there had been some sort of awareness of this incident of the shop in Hayes, and so he closed that business, and then he moved to what he thought probably was a further area away from what happened, thinking, oh, no one knows me, no one's going to know, and sets up exactly the same business and just carries about with his intent.
How do you feel about Tony Iqbal Singh?
He is a dangerous, horrible predator. He is a dangerous offender. He has shown no remorse at all for what he's done to Erin. He's shown, no remorse at all for any of his behaviour. He holds Erin and the other victim responsible. Even now, doesn't acknowledge that his failings in what he did, his part in what he did. He's despicable, and he's dangerous because he hasn't shown a level of understanding either, which means that his chance of reoffending is so high.
How concerned are you that there are more cases like this?
I'm really concerned. I believe there are other victims. I don't believe that they know that they are victims. And so I am really worried that there are further victims out there that are blaming themselves and haven't come forward thinking, well, it was my fault for going. And if they are being given things like this, there is always going to be an ulterior motive.
Yeah, pretty sick over there. All right, this next shop, restaurant store owner gets arrested because he wouldn't stop selling halal meat. Or wouldn't sell halal meat. Would sell. He says he's not Muslim, but I guess in England or Britain, you can be arrested for this. In fact, the Muslims came in and tried to trash the place and everything, and he still wouldn't bow to them. So they got the cops to come in and arrest him.
A restaurant owner in the UK just got arrested for not selling halal meat. And before y'all lose your mind and be like, oh, this is some racist white British dude. His name is Harman Kapoor, and he's a Sikh. And he, very straightforward, just said, I'm not going to do halal. I'm not interested in doing it. And if that means you don't want to buy food from me, that's fine. I don't care. So the Muslim community in his neighborhood stormed his restaurant, issued all kinds of fucked up threats, attacked his diners, attacked his employees, and did everything they could to destroy this man's business. And through it all, he was just like, hey, I'm not doing it. I'm not selling halal meat. And the UK responded by arresting him. I don't know how many times I have to put this out there, but the UK is a conquered nation. Now, they're at least a generation off from recognizing how conquered they are. But to the rest of the world, I think it's very obvious. I mean, shit, they just created a new position in government to protect Muslims from the hate crimes that are not happening. Meanwhile, the rape gangs that are roaming around, they also voted to not even investigate that. Yeah, people of the UK, enjoy your caliphate.
I can't see how they can arrest him for that. It's just insane to me. I don't know. Oh boy, let's go on with this one here.
I am so fucking done with the UK, man. In case you haven't been told or haven't heard it on the news, because obviously nothing's on the news, they have passed a bill in the House of Parliament forbidding discrimination towards pedophiles. No, this is not a joke.
Did you catch that? I'm going to rewind that a little bit. They're passing a bill for no discrimination against pedophiles.
And heard it on the news, because obviously nothing's on the news. They have passed a bill in the House of Parliament forbidding discrimination towards pedophiles. No, this is not a joke. From now on, you are to address pedophiles as gender-attracted people. Apparently, fancying little children is just a mental disease, and it should be treated and addressed like one. You know, some people like men, some people like women, some people like both, and some people like children, and that's acceptable. I mean, the Bible does say that we, near the end of days, we are going to experience some very demonic and satanic years. To think this is just like the very start of that process is scary, because it's going to get worse. It's going to get so much worse. Day by day, week by week, year by year. It's going to get really bad, people. So I think you need to get close with Jesus, get close with God, because what's coming is not good. And you're going to need to have your head screwed on properly. And you're going to have to be awake and alert to everything that's happening around you. Be smart. Don't let these evil influences.
A lot of them are violent too.
Create a disconnect between your heart and your soul and your mind. It's going to get tough. And make sure you surround yourself with people that are like-minded and are equally as awake, because the stronger your inner circle is, the bigger the chance you are going to have at surviving what's to come.
Yep. All right. Here's they've caught him, still bringing them in, fighting age men, illegals, into the country by boat. The government is help bringing them in, sort of like Biden there, Obama, whatever, when they was flying them all in.
Don't know what. Oh, there we go. There we go. Comments are back. Comments are back. Comments are back. No, I'm going to leave. Officer, I'm just letting you know I'm going to leave in a second. Okay, I am leaving. Okay. Okay. I'm going to leave in a second. No. I've got to get the footage. Let me get the footage and I'm going.
They're coming in with tugboats and bringing them in. These aren't in those little dinghies. The government of England or Britain is shipping them in. And we're paying for it. We're being replaced. All men. Fighting age men. I kind of wonder if they're thinking it's going to come to a civil war.
Where you from, mate? Where you from? Somalia. Oh, what's happening in Somalia? Why are you here? Why are you here? Somalia. What a dangerous, dangerous nation. Where you from, mate? Where you from? Where? Korea. You don't look like you're from Korea, mate.
Yeah, he don't look like Korea.
Anyone?
He's lying.
Muslim, yeah? Allah. Jesus Christ. Where the fuck have you lot come from? Somalia?
Yeah, you got to replace him.
Where you from, lads?
Agree.
Jesus Christ.
100% agree.
Why are you here? Why? Why are you here? You need women. You want women? Yeah, you want women. Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, you dirty bastard. You want some women? Yeah.
Well, all these foreign men at that age coming into the country without bringing the women makes you wonder why you're having the rape gangs.
You here for the girls? You here for the girls? For the women? Yeah, you know that. That's what you're here for. Somalia? Somalia? Where you from? Where you from? Iraq? You part of ISIS? Taliban? Where you from?
There's one woman there.
Turkey. What's going on in Turkey? I was
Turkey's
on holiday
really
in Turkey.
racist.
What are you here for?
That might be a whole family, though.
Turkey. He said he's from Turkey.
Some of these look like they're families.
Turkey, Somalia, Iraq, Kurdish, Iraqi. Oh, Kurdish. You a trafficker, yeah? Yeah. You come for the girls, yeah? Come for the girls? Come for the women? Yeah, that's it. I bet. Dreads is... Jesus Christ, what the Where you from, boys? Where you from? Somalia? France? Where? Mali? Look at this guy. How was your holiday, mate? Where you boys? Where you from? Yeah, Eritrea, yeah? You here for the girls? Yeah, of course you are. What for the girls? Yeah? Bang, bang? Yeah.
Yep, that's just like Sleepy Joe was doing. All right, let's go with this one next.
If you let them to be in the power, you are done. You need to run. Absolutely fine. Oh, I just want to tell the truth about Iran. None of them have never been in Iran. I'm Persian. My mom, all my family, 99% of my family, they are still living in Iran. I've been here since I came here 7 years ago. And I know how the murderer regime killed all the people in Iran. And those useless idiots, they don't want to listen to us, to Persian people. You know why? Because they hate Israel. They know Khamenei hate Israel. That's why they love Khamenei. They don't care how Khamenei, less than 3 months ago, killed more than 50,000 people in 2 days. And I can see those people, they are holding the
I think they want a civil war there, Tammy. That's why it's all men.
Khamenei picture in their hand, and they are not
And I think we're going to be exterminated is what they're planning.
even Iranian.
Do you think Islamic extremism is on the streets of London?
Listen, they are controlling London. That's why we just try to help people in London.
You see some of the cops now are Muslim and foreigners?
What you're seeing here now, we saw it 50 years ago. Now, we ask our grandfather, our parents, why
NGOs, lots of money.
You didn't say anything. And now I can see, because they've been drinking in the pub. They say, oh, diversity, oh, we need to respect, oh, we cannot divide. But in a minute, they get to the power, they force you to cover your hair.
Do you see London being under Sharia law?
Of course, it is. Of course, it is. It is by the Sadiq Khan, by Ayatollah Keir Starmer.
And you've lived under Islamic extremism, so you understand.
From London, I'm not living in London anymore because I wasn't safe. 2 days ago, they burned the car in North London because they hang the Persian flag. A few days back, they burned 4 ambulances in Golders Green because they've been for Jews. If you let them to be in the power, you are done. You need to run.
All right, so finally, this just came out today. The UK police are finally told to start ignoring some of the social media posts. You know, the ones that they've been arresting people. What's happening is it's been so overwhelming, they just can't arrest everyone.
Shift in the UK right now. Police now told to focus on real crime, not policing social media posts, after cases like this one. An American living in Britain saying police asked her to apologize for a Facebook post.
Something that we believe you've written on Facebook has upset someone.
You're here because somebody got upset. Is it against the law? Am I being arrested?
You're not being arrested.
Then what are you doing here?
My plan was, if you were admitting that it was you who wrote the comment, we could just make an apology to the person.
I'm not apologizing to anybody. I can tell you that.
Well, senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott joining us at the moment from London. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Benjamin. Yeah, it's official today. The UK, specifically England and
I
Wales,
agree.
is pulling back
agree,
from what
Tammy.
many say is
Queen
over-policing of online activity, not just
I
reining
agree.
in free
He,
speech here. The Home Office saying it's failed to keep up with the digital age, sending police officers into people's homes, making arrests, keeping records over posts commenting, for example, on a person's characteristics like race, religion, sexual orientation. They go on to say in their post, police time will no longer be wasted investigating legal social media posts, freeing up officers to patrol the streets and tackle real crime. By scrapping non-crime hate incidents, we are balancing the protection of vulnerable communities while respecting free speech. The head of London Scotland Yard has been quoted as saying their officers were being put in an impossible position in which laws were drawing them into toxic culture war debates. UK Prime Minister Starmer has also been on the defensive, saying we have
Because Starmer was the one that was pushing all this crap.
We've had freedom of speech in this country for a very long time, and we will always protect it. Today's
He
move
was getting such a backlash, and they're like dead last in the polls. That's why he's starting to change it a little bit for now.
in fact gets the UK more in line with the states where First Amendment protections on speech steer authorities to act more on direct threats of violence, not just offensive rhetoric. Critics say, though, the new moves don't go far enough, just setting the bar higher for the police to act. The guidelines are set to be fully in place by early next year. For some, couldn't come sooner.
All right, I want to make sure I played this before everyone takes off. Britain First is going to have an event here, so I want to play this. This is a pretty good ad for it. I played it at the very beginning, but there was only like
not
one
an
or two people
idea,
on.
not a slogan, a home. Built by those who came before us, held in trust for those who come after. We stand not in anger, but in duty to protect what was given, to defend what still matters, and to stand together for the land we love. This is our home.
April 18th. April 18th, Colin. April 18th. I'll rewind that a little. Celebrate St. George Day, April 18th. They're going to have a rally, a huge one.
And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here among these dark?
That one with the cross on it, the red, white and red cross. That flag, they're trying to make that illegal in England. The Red Cross flag is a Christian flag.
Bring me my bowl of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear of clouds unfold. Bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. I love you all, British patriots. Let's take our our country back.
Hopefully anyone can join those if you're over there. I got one more, but I know a lot of you are going to head over to VV's, but there's one more clip if you prefer to watch it or not. Here we go.
If you're wondering why the Ayatollahs won't leave Iran, the answer
I plan to be on tomorrow at 5, unless something comes up.
is simple. It's because the UK hasn't asked its citizens to come home. I want to unwrap this with you guys, even if it makes you uncomfortable. Stay with me. So, in 1979, Khomeini had one of the biggest platforms amplifying him, BBC Persia, British Broadcasting Corporation. From day one, the revolution had Western media keeping it alive. But still, for 47 years, they've tried to train us to say death to America, death to Israel. Fast forward to the present, and look how BBC treats Shahzada Reza Pahlavi. Look at the questions that were asked by CNN's Christian Amanpour, a British citizen. Every time momentum builds around him, every time the diaspora support grows, every time he gains traction, suddenly the framing shifts, the tone changes, and narratives are redirected. The greatest manipulation technique that the British have used is that media doesn't control what you think, it controls what you question. Now, let's zoom out. Britain has a 200-year strategic history in Iran. Oil concessions, Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, the 1953 coup with the CIA. Then look at the timing of everything now. Britain has not designated the IRGC as a terrorist organization. Britain has not let the US use their bases in certain attacks on Iran. At the same time, Trump releases the Epstein files, and out of all of the powerful names connected, he chooses to go after Prince Andrew first. At the same time, King Charles meets Aga Khan, a Shia Muslim spiritual leader with global influence. Why that meeting? Why now? When major geopolitical pieces move at the same time, you simply can't ignore it. You map it and try to connect the dots. Larijani has now officially been put in place to keep going, and we all know who put him there, right? And if that doesn't pan out, maybe Aga Khan is next. It's starting to look like a snake is shedding skin. At least that's UK's plan. A managed transition to keep the Islamic Republic structure alive, but rotate the leadership without losing leverage. As for Trump, he does not like war, but America's security is his number one priority, as we can see, and he loves business and power. And right now, he sees this as an opportunity to save Iranians and gain regional power at the same time without the Islamic Republic, since they are UK's leverage. America and Israel, the so-called enemies, have always been the distraction. The quiet operator is the one you're not supposed to see. When so many things all shift at the same time, you either call it a coincidence or you start asking uncomfortable questions. So my take is that the real enemy was never the one we were trained to scream at. And the most dangerous power is the one that never needed a slogan.
All right, food for thought. Catch you all tomorrow. God bless everyone. Bye-bye. Take care.